Hey guys, welcome back to LEGO Builds on a Budget, and today we have a brand new awesome video to show you. So after doing a poll I did a few weeks ago, I decided to make the most detailed Star Wars MOC I possibly could. This took inspiration a lot from one of the season finales of LEGO Masters, where they had to design a Star Wars MOC, and another episode where they had to design their own custom MOC which had a lot of lighting in it. And I combined those two to make my own. So for the story of this MOC, it takes place on some snow planet that I haven't decided what it would be yet. But pretty much the storyline is that this is an old rundown Republic base that was used during the Clone Wars. But after it got attacked and mostly destroyed from the Separatists back in the Clone Wars, it was reused as a rebel base. Now this MOC looks really cool, and I love how I was able to use these Trud parts as the main part for the wall, and it looks great. I used a lot of the dark brown along with the gray treads to give it a very rundown look, and I used a lot of these rope pieces along with the chain parts to also make it look run down and like wires are hanging out of the ceiling. I used a lot of greebling on the side walls to make it look very rundown and old, but I think it looks great. I used a lot of just singular studded plates to make a very nice looking ground for the rebel base, and it turned out looking amazing. There's also a lot of barricades, and because I used a lot of the studs on top technique for this wall, I ended up needing to make a bunch of snow platforms so the minifigures could stand without all of them falling over when I moved the MOC. And there's also a lot of crates, like this generator right here. In the back over there, you'll see there's a droid and there's a smaller, I don't know if it's an astromech droid, but another droid. And there's also a turret right here, and there's some troopers running to help fight against the Empire. And I don't know what's here that the Empire would want, but as you can see, in the very front taking all the shots are Darth Vader. There's a shot from a giant cannon that's about to hit him, but he's using the force with his arm to stop the blaster bullet so it can't hit him. There's also a gun tower that was shot and blew up, and currently in the process of being blown up. And you can see some snowtroopers along with one of the speeders from the Snow Speeder Battle Pack that just came out recently, just last year, and the big behemoth of the battlefield, the AT-ST. So for this AT-ST, I used a lot of different techniques to design it. And my original plan was to have it be able to stand on its own, but as you can see from the giant white transparent pillars, it didn't really work out. I learned that these parts that I used for the joints are way too brittle, and one of them snapped off and got completely destroyed. So unfortunately I have to have it on the transparent parts, but in the future I would like to modify this to be able to have it stand on its own. The nice thing, which in the cockpit you can see there are two drivers that drive the AT-ST, and it's actually fully accurate to the movies, where it can fit two minifigures to look through each of the holes with many control panels and various things like that. Another part of the battlefield that I really like is how I was able to make the terrain. Now usually when I make terrain, I'll just tile a bunch of plates on top of each other to create something that looks like either a flat or a rocky surface. But for this MOC, I really wanted to make a very detailed terrain. So what I did was I started by layering a bunch of these 2x2 dark tan and 1x2 with this one stud plates to be able to make it look like it's like very dry dirt or very cold dirt, I guess. And then around that you can see I placed a lot of snow, which I found the best way to making terrain is just by using 1x3, the little L 2x2, and the tiles with one stud instead of two, along with these 1x2 slopes. And that makes this beautiful terrain that I was able to create. Another great feature is these amazing trees you might have seen. When I was at the Lego store a few months ago, I was able to get a ton of these beautiful magenta leaf pieces that I can now use for all of my blocks. And though I only had enough to make 2 trees, I hope to get more in the future to make more. And for the minifigs, I have plenty and plenty of stormtroopers and snowtroopers, which I will never run out of. But I also have the new Darth Vader that came with the TIE Bomber, which isn't exclusive to that set, but I think it looks great. It also includes a lot of snowtroopers and rebel pilots, along with some just miscellaneous rebel troopers. And then on the back side, you can see that I have a lot of rebel troopers along with C-3PO and R2-D2. I think it looks great just because it has a lot of various minifigures, and some not known and some well known, and it looks great. Another great detail about this that I really like is how I was able to incorporate not only lights but sliding doors. So on each side the sliding doors can come open, and so then you can fit something not as big as the AT-ST, but something smaller in there. And so then you can pretty easily just close them back up just with the little Technic rods on the sides, and it works really well. As you can see, some of my amazing wiring. But I think it looks absolutely amazing. And I was able to use a lot of other great details. Like for this crate right here, I was able to take one of the die pieces that Lego produced for their game sets and add a bunch of gray pieces onto it to make it look like a crate. And then I can just place that randomly in the battlefield to make it look like a crate that might have fallen over or had gotten stuck there for a while. Another great detail that I like, which there are a lot of them, is a lot of the snow at the top. This looks absolutely amazing just because I was able to use a lot of greebling techniques with just various different white pieces, and it looks very snow layered. I don't know if that's the right term, but it works really good. I also have a small antenna here, which the rebels might have prepared to try and send a distress signal to the rebel base, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. Now this is what the MOC looks like with all of the lights off. It has a lot of great features, including a giant explosion from the cannon you saw earlier, along with Darth Vader and his lightsaber that glows red, which on the battlefield looks absolutely awesome with all the green from the AT-STs. And I did actually look at Star Wars Media, and the Red Empire did actually use green lasers, so this is actually very accurate. I used it for the cannon right here, you can see it blasting, along with all the different guns on the AT-ST, which absolutely look amazing. On the base, I used a lot of light just to light up the base. Unfortunately, I don't have any red lights to be able to make it look like the rebels are shooting lasers, but I think you can kind of get the idea across. On the back, it has plenty more lights to kind of just light it up and make it look nice. And when the lights are off, you can definitely tell that the rebels put a lot of effort into actually making this space usable just for the Empire to come and destroy it. But yeah, overall, I think this is an absolutely amazing MOC. It has plenty of great details, and I was able to use so many just fun and wacky pieces. Not even the ones that I showed you in the video. Like, you can look at the video 100 times and still notice a bunch of small details that I didn't talk about. But I think it looks absolutely amazing, and I'm very excited to build more things like this. Hopefully my next big Star Wars MOC will be a much larger scale. I don't know if it'll be a Rebel Bev MOC, most likely Clone Wars, just because that's what I'm into right now. But I am definitely going to try and keep the standards of this MOC and bring this into my next MOC. I think if you were to build this by yourself, it would probably cost around $500. This is just a rough estimate, knowing that just the lights itself cost me about $50, which I got from Let My Bricks. And then also the ATST, which I designed myself, but I had a lot of inspiration, which will be linked down below. It looks really amazing, and I really like it. It has so many great details. The lights may just make it so much better. The black border that I added makes it look nice and sleek, and it's just so amazing. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you very much, and I hope you guys like and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye.